So, ladies, let's talk about how you can get a man.
That is dating advice.
It is.
Right.
Because apparently some women need it. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on getting a man, but my wife is. She's
You ever
married.
tried?
You know, she's successfully married, so surely there's some lessons to be learned there. But anyway, before we begin, if you want to support us, you can go to lotus.com and read this fantastic article by Thomas about how Inceldom is only going to get worse. Because it takes two to tango. And if women can't get men, well, that also means that men can't get women. And Thomas is right when it's getting worse for men, but we always get complaints, oh, you only have to focus on men. It's like, okay, that can change. Don't worry, we can talk about you ladies. But so you get articles like this, and this is what spurred this for me. Because I'm actually very sympathetic to Molly here, who published this article a few days ago. And she says this, I'm almost 25, I've never been in a relationship, and I thought I'd be married now. What happened? That's a great question. What happened? I mean, she's not like, you know, massively unattractive. She's pretty normal looking. Right? Normal looking.
Her? I think that's the writer.
No, that's her.
No, that's the writer, isn't it?
That's the author of the article.
Oh, okay.
They always have the author of the article.
Sorry. I got confused between the woman there and the woman there.
No. But she's not like, you know, hideously unattractive. She's, you know, pretty average looking. Average looking women should be able to find average looking men. If they can't find average looking men, what's going on? You know, why is all this going wrong? And so she says, in September, I'll be turning...
Sorry, I love the idea that there's a shortage of average-looking men. Like, if that makes any kind of sense. Don't worry.
No, there actually is a shortage of average-looking men because women think 80% of men are below average.
Oh, yeah.
So the average-looking men are actually the top 20% of men, according to most women, apparently. But I'm not saying that's what Molly thinks because she doesn't say that. But anyway, she says... in September, I'll be 10 to 25. And if I'm honest, I thought my life would be worlds away from what it is today. Now, again, I want to be clear. I'm very, very sympathetic to the way Molly thinks and how life is just not turning out as she expected it to be. She says, I'm painfully or comfortably single, never been kissed, and around 400 Tinder matches down the line over a period of 6 years, I guess you could say I envisaged my life to be something a little different. Isn't that sad? Like,
I'm a bit confused. I mean, I'm not an expert on how Tinder works, but if she's had 400 matches, why has she not gone on a single date that's gone anywhere?
Well, I think it's due to men's expectations, which we'll talk about in a minute. But she says, I'm an avid reader of romance novels, and the trope I see that sees an inverted girl fall for a guy in a bookshop, I guess I expected my life to resemble a book when I hit my 20s. Well, here's the first piece of dating advice. Get off of Tinder. Go to the bookshops. Go outside. Go and actually meet people in real life. She says, but the point there, though, she wants a fairy tale romance. What social movement may have been responsible for killing women's ability to get fairy tale romances?
Let's give it an F.
Does. In my teens, I dreamed of falling in love young, getting married in my mid-20s, and spending the rest of my life with whoever I tied the knot with. That's lovely. That's a lovely dream. Why should she be unable to fulfill this? A childhood sweetheart seemed idyllic and something I could get behind, constantly on the lookout for a classroom crush who might have secretly liked me too. I always thought I'd fall in love at 18 and marry 7 years later. Imagine telling our grandkids the story of how we'd fallen in love from across the classroom, or how we'd met on the bus or the train, or at the library where I studied. Suffice to say, none of this happened, and as I approached 25, everything I thought I knew about love was a lie. It's like, well, that's an ideal, isn't it? And it's a nice, romantic, and feminine ideal that she's grown up with. Like, I imagine there are lots of women who had something like this before they ended up going to university. She says, in all honesty, I'm not quite sure where I got my initial ideas about my 20s of falling in love from. Thinking about what I first wanted out of my life, it now seems completely unattainable. But some people my age do seem to have it all. I've seen people my age who have achieved what I first thought I wanted. They've got a mortgage, a long-term boyfriend, a baby on the way, a car on finance, and a grey crushed velvet sofa. So these are quite nice, wholesome, realistic dreams that she has. She's not asking for anything that's absurd, and for some reason it's still out of reach. She says, in my 20s, I'm single and living at home with my mum and cat. I work most of the time, and I've forged a moderately successful career for myself, with my life resembling the women in Dolly Alderton's new series, more than that of a nuclear family from the 1960s, and I'm actually kind of relieved. And here's where the cope begins. Of course, I'm also slightly miffed I've not found love before turning 25. I really did have high hopes of it happening. At the same time, I'm not mad. So, well, maybe you could be mad. Maybe something has gone wrong. Maybe there's something wrong with society at large. possibly something that has been influencing the minds of young men and women into how they should be interacting with one another. She says, nothing in my life turned out how I thought it would, and I'll likely be stepping into the next chapter of my life as a young, free, single woman once again. But like so many other girls in their 20s, I've realized I need to revel in the fact that I have freedom and truly figure out who I am before I inevitably end up falling in love one day.
You're already 25.
You've already had all the freedom you'll ever need.
No, but I don't know why you haven't figured out who you are by then. Surely.
Well, it's a bit of a cope, to be honest. Yeah. And sadly, she's just like, well, you know, here's hoping. It's like, yeah, well, good luck. You know, I'm genuinely hopeful. But she obviously, you know, she wants a husband, kids, grandkids. It's perfectly nice. Can't get it. Totally normal looking woman. Should be able to. But the problem as well is that women have a problem that men aren't exactly catchers these days. This is a story that I think is emblematic of this. So a man and a woman go on a date and she refuses to have sex. She doesn't want to have sex with him because he just says. And so he's like, right, well, I'm not paying then.
Oh, okay.
Can you ever have imagined saying that to a woman?
No. But,
exactly.
It is funny. I'll give him that.
It is funny, but it's ridiculous. And
well, what's the nature of the meeting? Because it's not a date. I mean, that's certainly sure.
It's a bit unclear actually, because it was from a TikTok video. But this person called Alaska Girl questioned her date about his last minute decision to split the bill, and he was like, "Well, are you going to give me some ass?" And she was like, "No," and he was like, "Well, there we go." Where's the love and romance here?
Well, okay, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Not a catch situation.
But you can see how this is just an entirely transactional.
But also, I'm wondering what the meetup was about, because if it's a Tinder meetup, not a date, that's the thing on my mind. If it was from a sex app rather than a dating,
sure, and it's unclear. You know, they might actually be in a relationship already. Who knows? But the point is, these things should not be handled as transactions. And this is not the first time we've covered this. We've talked about OnlyFans makes sexuality purely transactional, but also that app that is for young women who are looking for rich men, and there are millions of them on there apparently, just looking for men with money so they can get paid and give them sex. It's like, look, this whole thing is being looked at in the wrong way completely. And so you've got the romantic, idealistic girl who we saw just there being like, well, I thought I'd find, a dream romance. It's like, yeah, that's something that's being lost here,
Certainly lost on that guy.
Certainly lost on a lot of men as well. So this is just one example of many that I have seen. And it's like, right, so if everything is now a transaction, what are the options for women? Well, the option, and I hate to say this, but this is just for women generally, is to essentially stop having sex with men you're not in a relationship with. I was, just looking for advice for women from women about this to see if it was any good. And actually, some of it was quite good, and some of it was remarkably conservative. And I think it's because the conservatives might actually have a point about this. So this was just one of those listicles. Oh, well, why does he keep you around even though he doesn't want a relationship? And it's like, because you're having sex with him. That's why. You're an idiot. You're having sex with him. That's why. And they've got a bunch of answers, but they do actually have, you're having sex with him. It's like, yeah. And they say, it's an incredibly shallow and awful reason, but a common one nonetheless. Yeah. Duh. Why would I buy the cow if I get the milk for free? Why would I? Why would anyone? This is women, you've done this yourself. So who told you it was a good idea to go out and have lots of easy, promiscuous sex? Oh, that's right. Feminists. Anyway, they say, if you've been having sex with him while you're dating, good for you, girl. Is it? Is it? You got the boyfriend you want.
I thought they weren't dating, though, essentially.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's no shame in being intimate early on in a relationship. Should there be? Yeah. It's easy to say this when I'm married, by the way.
Even if there's not, I mean, is it advisable? It's just
exactly. And the reason it was shameful prior is because it was completely inadvisable. Because your grandmother knew if you were going to give up the prize on the first couple of dates, he was just going to not bother seeing you again. He got what he wanted. You have to give him a reason to be invested. And they say, but it can blur the lines between something casual and a serious relationship. As stereotypical as it is to say, it is unfortunately true that women are more likely to consider sex to be a sign that he's got deep feelings for you. He doesn't. If you have sex with him in the very early stages of you having any kind of romantic interaction, he doesn't have deep feelings for you. And
well, you can, but if
he doesn't.
It's not an advisable strategy for sure.
He doesn't.
Like, what's the percentage chance? It's not looking good.
It's not looking good. But moreover, by having sex with a man that early on in your relationship, if you can even call it relationship, you're actually revealing to him that you're a certain kind of girl who doesn't keep anything sacred back for herself. Notice the other woman hasn't even been kissed, right? And I think she's a good example to use. She's been reserving this mystical romance for Mr. Right, but she's in a dating pool of guys who are like, well, I'm not paying for not having sex. Like, she can't form a romantic attachment with a man like that.
She did say she was looking on Tinder, which is, just a bad pool.
Exactly. It's a really bad pool. And so if you're like being sensible like the first woman, who's like, no, I'm going to actually do what is necessary so I can craft this dream relationship, which is keep my sanctity as a woman, then you're looking in the wrong places and you're in trouble, basically. And other women really, they're ruining men for you, just so you know. But anyway, in his mind, he might be just enjoying himself, filling his boots, so to speak. Yes, that's exactly right? If he's getting great sex from you, he might not want to leave, but even if his feelings for you don't run that deep, why would he leave behind that kind of fun to be single and forced to spend his nights alone? If you want some clarity for him, your first port of call should be to take sex off the table. Ooh.
Good advice.
Very conservative advice, though. As if your grandmother knew something.
The best advice is always the conservative advice, let's be honest. I mean, like, this
it seems that way.
Rubber conquest laws. Like, one of them is the thing everyone knows most about, they're conservative about.
Yes.
It was just, well, yeah.
Yeah. Once he realizes you aren't going to be dishing it out like you used to, the sex fog in his brain will lift and he'll have a chance to find his morals again. Oh, really? That's very interesting. So he is being immoral by taking advantage of your looseness when it comes to how often
Whereas you have no responsibility. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Your own decisions mean nothing.
But as she's saying, look, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Take sex off the table. Yeah, you should have done that from the start. And then he would have had to have worked for it. You would have been able to have that romantic spark. But they've got some other good points in here, actually, which I thought were worth going through. Another reason if he's having sex with you, but won't be tied down to you, is he wants to keep his options open. Yeah, you're an option to him. This is the thing. If you want this deep, meaningful, romantic relationship, he is got to not see you as just an option. If you go down, they've got loads of other, irrelevant points, basically. It's quite far down this list that this one is. Some guys aren't ready to settle down, but they do know they have real feelings for you. They don't like the idea that if they commit to you and make a relationship exclusive and official, they can't continue to woo every lady they meet. Why would they want to do that if they had a special relationship with you? They wouldn't. And the reason they don't have a special relationship for you is because you haven't held anything back that's just for them.
Well, you haven't cultivated one.
No.
Like, it actually takes work to do that.
Yes. And it actually means holding something back for a period of time. If you found yourself an eligible bachelor who's been used to living at large and meeting a new woman every night, it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that he's avoiding taking a relationship to a more serious level. Why would he? Why would he? So if he keeps telling you he wants to take it slow, but he's dating and hooking up with other women, he's probably not that devoted to you. Probably. If you are dating a man who you are convinced is dating other women in addition to you, you have to stop dating that man. He is not the man for you. He is not into you. End of story. So they've got a few questions, which I thought we'd go through. What does it mean when he says he doesn't want a relationship? It means you're an option. He's not into you. He's using you for sex.
What do you think it means?
That's what it means.
That means he wants to marry me.
That means maybe in a year's time he'll want to marry me and give up all of those other women. No. It means you allowed him to get the thing that he wanted, and so he doesn't need to be particular about you at all. The conquest has already been made, as far as he's concerned. Am I wrong?
No.
So basically, you need to stop seeing him. And so what to do when a guy says he doesn't want a relationship?
Move on. if you want a relationship.
You stop sleeping with him.
Like, if you don't want a relationship either, then enjoy doing what you're doing, I suppose. But
Great. Yeah, but that's not the question here, is it? But that's the point. If a guy says, I don't want a relationship, then you have to stop sleeping with him. If you want a relationship, you can't sleep with a man who is not interested in having a relationship with you. That is, again, you giving up that thing that is nature has designed to tie a man to you. That's why women are the gatekeepers of sex, goddammit. And if you're like abolishing that gatekeeping ability, well, then you're going to get used and used and used. Well, this is not good. And again, it seems very sensible to someone of my age, but I can imagine there are young women who just don't understand this. And it seems that there are other women who are like, look, you've got to stop having sex with him. But what? Why? Why would I need to do that? Go speak to go speak to your grandmother, idiot. But how do you tell if a guy likes you but doesn't want a relationship? And they say, guys are very forthcoming when it comes to their desire to commit. Yeah. If a guy wants to commit to you, he will. And if he doesn't, then you've got to dump him. You've got to go and start a romantic relationship with someone else and don't sleep with them on the first date. But anyway, they carry on and say, in the same vein, they're very clear about when they're playing around. To tell the difference, some signs that a guy is not ready to commit include: he is not able to define your relationship. He is always ghosting you on time and reappearing when he finds it convenient. And so don't do this. Just don't engage with men who do this. Conversely, men don't engage with women who do this, obviously, but different kettle of fish. But we'll leave it there. So basically, you've got to be really particular and you've got to be restrictive as to when you have sex.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this premium video, The Politics of the Death of Stalin. And if you want to follow what else John is putting out, you can follow him on Getter at John Wheatley on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.